It's 4:44. We're about ready to start Spiritual Chat. Stu?
Good morning, or good afternoon, everybody. 4:44.
This is our new friend, Cameron Schmidt. He's here to enjoy some chat stew with us. And what do you want to say, honey?
Okay, well, let me go ahead and set the tone. During this past few days, you have...
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So during this past few days, you have been talking to some individuals about this topic, so you know a little bit about what I'm going to say.
Okay.
But years ago, in the trifecta of the mind-body-spirit relationship, we always used to equate that to three other words.
Okay.
Wealth, happiness, and health.
Okay.
Health. So let's kind of start with this by the question that the gentleman asked you from India, I believe.
Okay.
And he asked you about your diet. So that's the direction in which we're going to head.
All right, I want to ask real quick, are you cozy with us talking about diet as our starting topic?
Okay.
All right, let's bring it on.
So we created the mission, and the mission, the first word is luminous and body. So let's start by, I'm going to ask you to define what is a luminous body.
Ooh, I like this idea. Okay, so we're going to talk about the fact that, well, actually, I do want to take just a quick second to say how, part of how Cameron found us is the fact that he's had some people in his life who have a fondness for crystals, and that seems to be a synchronicity that is coming up for him lately. And as we've talked about some of these things, he realized maybe this is a good opportunity for him to get some of the questions answered revolving around crystals and things like that. So I want to bring up synchronicities because that will come back into play later on in our conversation. Now, in regards to a luminous body, what is a luminous body? Well, it certainly sounds pretty. What a luminous body is in my opinion, we chose as free will beings to come live on a planet that we understood that there would be certain limits within that planet. One of those limits is that we would be limited to, well, we would have a physical body, and that physical body would certainly feel like it had a whole lot of limits, especially because parts of it are activated and parts of it are not activated. Now, that physical body is kind of restrained in some ways by the third dimension. We also have other bodies. We have an astral body, which is what we travel with when we're sleeping, and astral projection or lucid dreaming. Some people are aware of those things. We also have a light body, which is based in the fifth dimension, and that body is of crystalline nature. It's very, very, very powerful once it's activated, and that body is really the next step of evolution for the human family. That's certainly my belief. I know that I could provide a lot of scientific background to back that up.
Okay, so here's the question.
Okay.
Most people might equate to the term of the spirit.
Okay.
They have a spirit.
Okay.
Are you saying that a luminous body or the light body is like our spirit?
No, they're totally separate thing. The luminous body is the next step of physical evolution for a human mechanism. So where you know, most of us know we use a very small percentage of our brains. We know that that's scientifically backed up. This is not new information I'm giving you. We actually use a smaller percentage even than what most science is telling us, but that's okay. We still know we don't use our whole brains, or that we don't have access to our whole brains right now, most of us. We also know that there's a whole bunch of stuff in our bodies that scientists like to call junk DNA. Now, I don't know about you, but something tells me in this really cool, awesome invention of a human physical mechanism, something tells me that there's nothing in there called junk DNA. Does it seem like we would have junk DNA to you? How about to you?
Absolutely not.
I don't feel like we probably have junk DNA. More likely, we have DNA that we don't quite understand yet. And that DNA is having some pretty incredible things happening right now. So as we go through some kind of light phases that are happening with our planet right now, DNA that we haven't had access to before is going to get activated. And as that happens, our light bodies, which are a different part of our body than our physical body, are going to start to have activations happen. Those things that happen will not only, sorry, it looks like you're going to ask a question.
So you're
Or
saying
say
that the
something.
luminous body is literally, as time is evolving right now, our bodies our DNA is activating and we're turning into light?
More like a crystalline body. It's more like a crystalline body. So there'll still be like a physical aspect to it. You can touch your body, you can physically touch it, but it will have more of a crystalline nature. We're not going to be subject to the same kind of illnesses. Now, granted, we're talking human evolution, and time is relative. I'm not trying to say this is going to happen next week. I'm not trying to say that this is going to happen in 5 years. To be completely honest, I feel like I would feel silly to even give a time frame. I do know that the changes are already happening.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna paraphrase. For a lot of people who have grown up with some type of dogma,
Okay.
the scriptures sometime they have heard, "Let your light so shine that others may see your good works." How does that relate to the luminous body or the activation of DNA that you're talking about?
Okay. Well, what's happening to the planet right now with the influx of light that's coming is these things are being they're happening to our bodies whether we want them to or not. However, throughout history, we've always had access to these things in our body, and there have been certain really incredible teachers who have access to these things. We've got the Buddha who accessed his light body. When that happened, he had what looked like a halo. We've got someone named Jesus. He's a really awesome guy. A lot of people really resonate with that guy. He also activated his light body and looked like he had a halo. When these people activate their light bodies, which is a physical mechanism of every single human being. These are divinely created, magnificent avataric bodies. Every single one of us have the ability to activate that light within and let our light so shine for the world to see that we become a living crystal. So when those people, those incredible, magnificent teachers throughout history, of which there are many who were able to activate their light, we're talking King Arthur. Yeah, he really did find the, what's the word I'm looking for? The chalice, come on.
The Holy Grail?
The Holy Grail, yes. Yeah. King Arthur really did find the Holy Grail, and that was activating the light within. There's lots of ways to do this, but right now we're kind of entering into a phase where it's happening to humanity one way or the other. Other leaders, other great teachers, other inspirational teachers who have never tried to become famous or anything for what they do, they just simply did because of the way they help others.
Okay.
They activated their light bodies and they became healing as a natural side effect. So just being in their presence was similar to being in the presence of an extraordinarily powerful and loving crystal who could help them to accomplish things that felt miraculous, seemed miraculous. Well, miracles are, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're miracles, but they are our birthright. These are things that we do naturally. We just have not been guided appropriately. We're like toddlers who don't realize we're in superhero school.
So,
keep in mind, Cameron may not agree with all of this stuff. He's getting a little sideswiped by this information. So, okay.
So now that we got a foundation of understanding a luminous body,
I actually do want to ask one question. Do you have anything that you'd like to add or ask, or are you?
No, I'm just soaking it in right now.
Just soaking, I like it.
All right, good.
Soaking in the essence.
So we have a foundation of a luminous body, which is not only a physical manifestation, because our DNA is actually changing.
Right.
But we are going through a time period where we're infusing more light, which is going to be a subject for another day.
Right.
But right now, let's just take the United States. There are a lot of people that are overweight. They're trying to lose weight. They're trying to get healthier. They've got physical ailments. And the way that I understand, if your DNA is going to activate and you're becoming a much lighter person,
Literally.
right?
Right.
Let's talk about the health issue of some of the changes that have happened now. You have your physique is very athletic, very healthy.
Okay.
When we met,
Thank you.
I was on a very slippery slope with my weight. I got up to 300 pounds. I had gastric bypass surgery, went on countless number of diets, got down to 240, back up to 275, had some problems with that, had it taken out. Owned my own diet company for a little while. Still was kind of tubby. And then we met and we started to...
It didn't bug me.
We started to date and our relationship blossomed. And then one day I was, Anna, I am 180 pounds.
I know, he lost like 40 pounds and he didn't really understand what had happened because he, for the first time in his life, wasn't trying to lose weight. And all of a sudden, kind of got blindsided by weight loss.
All right, so the gentleman, where we started out, the gentleman the other day asked you about your diet, so I want to talk about...
Thank you for that.
Yeah, great question, great discussion. So I want to talk about right now with so many people dealing with healthcare problems. It's obviously one of the largest industries here in the United States, if not growing worldwide.
Right.
How can we find the very best body or to transition our luminous body into? Because I think that a lot of people have some fear mechanisms, they have some self-esteem issues, and they definitely have physical ailments that they need to address.
Okay.
So let's start there.
Well, I know that this is going to seem ridiculous, but you are living proof. I am living proof that it works, so I'll talk a little bit about it. You eat with love and light. That is how you change everything. So first of all, when you and I were first dating and you kind of had a little bit of a love affair with Taco Bell, you would talk about going to Taco Bell and you'd say, oh, I'm craving Taco Bell, and why do I crave it? And I'd say, listen, we can go to Taco Bell. I don't mind going to Taco Bell. I'll even be willing to eat some Taco Bell with you as long as you eat it without guilt. You have to promise me that you're just going to enjoy it. You're not going to think about it the next day.
Right.
You're not going to...
By the way, our attorneys say that we neither support or not support Taco Bell, but you can choose to go if you want to, and if you don't want to, go somewhere else. All right.
Okay. In any case, whatever you want with Taco Bell, my point being, I didn't want him eating with guilt, because I understand that when you eat with a heavy heart, you eat heavily. You maintain the things that you are eating. When you eat with a lightness, it's a completely different world. So, I mean, obviously I understand that you can't just eat all donuts. You can't just eat, well, maybe you could, that is fantastic. The fact is, you've got to eat with love and light. And if you absolutely are miserable and you hate yourself, or you are feeling guilty for what you're eating, hey, it's one of our other friends, Robert. Hi, Robert. Robert came by earlier and drew some crystals with his niece and nephew.
Yeah,
that's really awesome.
More family told them about the love on.
Oh, you did? Are you going to sit down and talk with us for a little bit?
I think they got it.
Okay, that's no problem, but we are recording, so I'm going to pick up where I left off, okay? Oh, no, it's no problem. Actually, look, more family. We're going to pause for just a second so we can hand out some crystals. 1 second. Here, let's let the other members pick one real quick, and then if you decide you want to pick one yourself, you can, and if you decide not, I'll pick one. Do you want to see which one you want to pick?
I like to feel.
Yeah, that's how I like to, but sometimes kids just know just exactly what they want. Well, perfect, and that will help to bring out yours also. All right, little lady, you've got one more chance. Do you want me to pick it for you, or do you want to pick one? You want me to?
Oh, she's good at picking them.
You know what? Something tells me, not only by the pink on your beautiful swimming suit, but also by the fact that I can feel your heart from here. You must have a really strong heart. So this is a rose quartz. That's for your heart chakra. Something tells me your heart chakra is already very, very strong. Can I take your hand at the very least?
Give her a hug.
Do you mind if I have a hug? I'm so happy. Thank you, honey. It's very nice to see you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. We'll be here at least the next 3 Sundays. So
Yep.
if you want, same tree, unless somebody else has
They stole the
popped
tree.
in, and then we'll go to the next one.
Possibly, I'm waiting to all this stuff. I'm gonna stay another.
Please come next week. I would be so. Right, so we have to pick up where we left off.
Okay, so
And
you were just talking about.
It's so nice to meet you. So come next week. Okay.
So we were just talking about eating with guilt, or eating with lightness, or eating with love.
Okay. I hope that it's not too shaded. Eating with guilt, or eating with lightness, or eating with love. Okay, so first of all, anyone who has been led to believe that we're supposed to eat exactly 2,000 calories a day, I'm sorry. It's just not true. We're not supposed to eat 2,000 calories a day. He's supposed to eat different amount of calories per day than I'm supposed to eat, and I'm supposed to eat different amount of calories per day than he's supposed to eat. And he's supposed to eat different calories today than he's supposed to eat in 3 weeks, because what's going on with his body and his system might look a little different in 3 weeks than how it looks today. So it's not a 2,000 calorie a day thing, and anyone who has led you to believe that our diet is supposed to be that rigid has forgotten that the laws of the universe require flow, not just ebb. Flow is also a requirement. So when I'm eating, oh my gosh, there's so much brightness back there. The sun is coming down behind us now. So when I'm eating, I focus on a couple of things. First of all, the vast majority of what I eat, I want to make sure it's very nutritious. I want to make sure that it comes from the earth, so that it has things that
Well,
might.
Hold on one second before you go there.
Okay, sorry.
Let's get our camera better, because we're gonna fight the sun.
Okay. There we go.
Is
that better?
Be better if you block.
We're gonna
the
turn
sun
around.
with this.
All right, so we had to turn around our camera.
Okay,
Hopefully we'll have a little less brightness right in our face, but
Okay, so we were just talking about eating with guilt or eating with lightness, but I want to take one step back and ask you a question, because this will come in line with how we eat, with what intention, in just a little bit. Let's talk about, how does one get sick? Physically sick.
well, every physical sickness has some type of a etheric beginning as well, whether it starts in our thoughts, whether it starts with something that someone has done to us and we've shoved it down, and we've been led to believe that strength is shoving in our feelings. So, you know, if you're going to hold in horrible feelings for a long time, they become literally toxic. So that can affect our ability to have a healthy, strong, loving, functioning body. But also things like just our own thoughts of depression and things. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's happened to us. Sometimes we struggle with inner darkness. But either way, every sickness, no matter what it is, has both a physical and an etheric root cause.
Okay. So, kidney disease or heart disease, or you're talking about the diseases we're very familiar. You're saying that if we hold negative emotion, it can turn into a physical sickness?
So first of all, it can turn into a physical sickness because of the fact that we're holding in toxic energy that we are meant to release from our bodies, and we get taught to hold in our feelings. So we get taught really effectively to create like a perfect recipe for sickness. But in addition to that, it's not just that. I mean, obviously kidney disease could come from, you know, you might have a certain level of inner loathing that you drink yourself to death or near to death, and it affects your kidneys. And we're not talking drinking a couple glasses of wine with your friends. We're talking slow suicide of drinking. Well, of course, the root of that is still drinking, but we also know that the root of the drinking is a certain level of not loving the self. And so, or of that level of drinking certainly is a certain level of not loving the self. So there's still a root cause of not loving the self enough to protect the personal mechanism. And then it also leads to kidney disease. So it's not that it always is just like, you know, this secret etheric thing. Sometimes there's still a very obvious way that the kidney disease or the liver cirrhosis or the cancer or whatever it may be, you know, obviously if someone's smoking cigarettes, that's something I've done my fair share of. I don't anymore, but I've done it way more than my fair share. And obviously I know that if I get lung cancer, it's not only because I've smoked cigarettes, it's also because I had a knowledge that what I was doing was really toxic, and I was still going and choosing to suck that into my lungs. And most likely I wouldn't do that if I had the highest level of self-love possible. I would probably not choose to do something that's going to slowly create cancer. So there's still two causes, even there.
A physical,
right.
An outside.
But then in addition, you know, if you have a traumatic experience happen as a child and you don't know how to process that, or you've been taught ineffectively how to process that, or you believe, I just need to be super duper strong and hold everything in, then there is a very good possibility that you're going to have chronic illness later in life that is directly caused by emotional damage.
Okay, so let's kind of spin another question right there.
Deal.
So we are talking about that sickness can come from negative emotions that we hold inside.
And keep in mind, we only have
a
couple more minutes left, and we do want to talk about the diet. Get back to the diet part.
Okay. So when we are eating, going back to Taco Bell, so Taco Bell is less likely.
Taco Bell is less likely to cause you any disease if you just allow yourself to just freaking love it. Just love the food for a minute while you eat it. Don't eat Taco Bell all day, every day. Don't eat. But if you're going to just have a craving, allow yourself the joy of just freaking loving it. Know that in that moment, you're not eating for nutrition, you're eating for joy, and that is worth eating for. It is worth eating for joy sometimes. It's also totally worth eating for your physical mechanism sometimes. And if you get super honest with yourself about what that looks like, it's pretty easy to make sure that your physical mechanism is meeting its needs.
Right.
So 90% of the time, 80% of the time, most of the time, there's some flow there. I try to eat things that look like food to my neurons when they see it. That's not chemical based. That's plants. That's, you know, for me, I don't eat a lot of meat. I eat a little bit of meat, but that's all subjective. Mostly I want to eat things that are non-GMO, non-chemical.
Well, let's not go there yet. So I want to, in the limited time, I want to draw together the negative emotions while eating.
Okay, perfect. So if you're eating with guilt, you're eating with heaviness. If you're eating with sadness, you're eating with heaviness. If you're pissed off at your neighbor and you're eating with heaviness. If you're eating with any level of guilt, shame, disgust, personal anything, there's a heaviness associated with it that makes it so that food is literally toxic to you. So it's worthy of taking a little bit of time to love the food, to honor the food, to thank it for showing up. I don't care if you're mad at your neighbor and you want to eat. Take a couple of minutes while you're with your food to just be with it in love and light, and just like sideline the fact that you're upset with your neighbor for a minute. Long enough to be with your food and allow it to be a light experience while you're eating it.
So is this why a lot of the masters taught us how to pray for our food?
That's my honest belief, is showing it the honor of being a part of your journey. It's not that you're going to be in trouble or you're going to be poisoned to death or that someone's going to punish you if you don't. It's that you're taking the conscious time and the effort to recognize that this food is feeding you. It's making sure that you're going to get through to another day. Right now we don't have to go take our our spears and go like kill something. We're really lucky for the way that we're able to get our food, so just enjoy it for a few minutes and then go back to whatever frustration you've got to afterwards. But don't do that while you're eating.
So with the same idea that one wouldn't want to drink poison or eat poison.
100% same concept.
If we're eating, no matter, the first concept is, if I'm understanding this right, as it relates going back to improving to a luminous body, is if I eat with love intention, while eating is kind of like a mixture of two major ingredients, the food plus the love.
And the light.
And the light.
So the light, because you do want to put light into your body.
So you're saying that potentially
and food, everything is light. Everything is made out of light. So what we're choosing to do is consciously put that light into our body.
So if I was trying to lose weight or become more healthy, the very first thing that I would start to do is just love my food. Just
love your food without any guilt.
No guilt. Oh, that must be a secret.
And then the second part, not the first part, is what you're actually putting in your body. Obviously, be honest with yourself. If all you're eating is junk food, you're not going to have a body that really functions really well. Try to focus on putting things in your body that your body is going to recognize as food. We've been on this planet for a long time, and some of those chemicals that are filling our food, your body does not recognize those as food. It doesn't register those as food, so it just sidelines them and puts them on your butt or your thighs or something like that. I don't know. But if you eat real food most of the time, then you get the joy of eating for love when you need to. And you can eat a burger, and you can eat a candy bar, and you can go crazy on frozen yogurt is, I don't know that I would survive this last few months without some frozen yogurt. Like, it's literally one of my favorite things.
So one of the things I do want to talk about next time, since we're
because I want to ask him if he has anything he wants to ask too. Do you have anything that you'd like to ask, or?
I mean, I have resonated with it. Just love how you're describing it is kind of how I've tried to practice my own diet recently.
Right, and this is a person who happened upon us, but he runs Spartan marathons and races and things like that. So I'm actually really interested if this resonates.
Yeah, so I mean, this has pretty much been my personal philosophy when it comes to my own diet.
No wonder he vibrated towards us. This is our kind of people. Perfect. What? Sorry, no.
So what I want to do is just kind of do a segue for a little of a major idea as we're relating to this.
Okay.
And I'm just going to mention loving water, blessed water, and Dr. Emoto.
I'm very excited to talk about water. Water is a major passion for me. So we'll bring that one up next time unless someone else...
Okay. And if you have any questions or any topics, whether it's health related or luminous body related, or just need to talk about how to handle a conflict or to release some type of dark or negative emotions, just email either Anna or myself, Jamey, at luminous-body.com.
And Anna, A-N-A-Y-A, at luminous.body. Or, luminous.body-body.com.
Okay.
We love you. We're gonna go play at the drum circle for a few minutes.
Love and light,
Hopefully
everybody.
we'll see y'all next time.
Cameron.
Thanks, Cameron. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Bye.